Which page number is it, Guru? A little advanced among the class of the Gurus are considered to be those who teach and preach on the basis of the knowledge of the Shastras and other holy books. They have established orders and ashrams where they enjoy a kingly position among their followers. They go out and address large audiences, telling them what to do and what not to do, and explaining to them the problems concerning Maya, Jiva, and Brahman. People flock to them in thousands to hear their sermons, admiring their high ideals and extensive knowledge, and regard them as great Mahatmas or saints. They ask them numerous intricate questions, and if they are able to answer them out of their stock of knowledge of Shastras, their greatness as Mahatmas is established in their minds, and they are induced to accept them as Gurus. But really, they have thus put to test their learning and not their real worth. So that is the last line underlined ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. They have put to test their learnings and not the real worth. It must well be borne in mind that it is not learning or knowledge that makes a man perfect, but it's only realization in the right sense that makes a true yogi or saint. It is just possible that a man who thus impressed you with his outward form, learning, or eloquence may be at the lowest level as regards practical attainments. Knowledge, therefore, is no criteria of a true Mahatma or yogi. Similarly, the real test of a Mahatma or a Guru is not his miracles or his extraordinary ways of manners, but only his practical attainments on the path of realization. So that is what we are in the lookout for. A Guru who has practical attainments in the path of realization. The popular meaning of the word Mahatma as a great individuality does not seem appealing to me. I would define a Mahatma as a most insignificant being, or rather a neglected figure beyond all feelings of greatness, pride, and egoism, dwelling permanently in the state of complete self-negation. That is a definition of Mahatma, and that's the examination question for you. Definition of Mahatma. There are some who hold the view that knowledge being the preliminary stage of realization is essential and indispensable. I do not agree with them on the grounds that knowledge is only an achievement of the brain, whereas realization is the awakening of the soul. This is also an examination question, and hence far beyond its scope. In books on spiritual science, we read much about the conditions of the mind or various spiritual stages and get acquainted with them, but as regards practical attainments, we are far away from them. We can talk to people about their conditions, advance arguments for and against them, and establish our supremacy in learning, but inwardly we are quite ignorant of them because you have not practically experienced it. So you are ignorant of them. Only when you have practically experienced it, that means you have actually realized them. We attend lectures and hear sermons on the Gita. We recite portions from the Gita regularly every day, and we read commentaries on it written by great men of learning. But what practical effect is thereby produced upon us? Has any one of us ever been able to acquire practically any one of the conditions depicted in it? They may, however, repeat the words, word is Maya and man is Brahma, and so on, but outwardly they are quite unconscious of what they speak in words. None has ever been able to develop the conditions described therein, just as Arjuna did when he heard it from Lord Krishna. So when Krishna started reciting the slokas, Arjuna started experiencing the conditions. So Krishna transmitted while he actually uttered the slokas. That is what happened. The Gita, as we know today, is really a commentary on what Lord Krishna spoke to Arjuna on the eve of the Battle of Mahabharata. Lord Krishna had actually transmitted the very conditions explained by words of mouth into the heart of Arjuna, with the result that Arjuna was literally feeling the same condition prevailing all over, both within and without. Thus, it was that every word which he heard descended right into his heart, producing a permanent effect. So, the cause of the failure of the modern teachers and preachers of the Gita to produce the desired effect upon the mind of the listeners is their lack of power to transmit these conditions. Underline, lack of power to transmit these conditions. The various conditions of the mind described in the Gita are really the different stages a man comes across during his march on the path of spirituality. They develop automatically from within. Formal means adopted to acquire a particular state of mind at a premature state increases internal grossness, which is detrimental to our progress. So we should have impatience. We should not be in a rush. If we are in a rush, there is internal grossness. So the last sentence, formal means adopted to acquire a particular state of mind at a premature stage increases internal grossness. So it's a very delicate balance between having impatience for the goal and not rushing towards the goal. Okay, it's like you have to go at 80 to 100 kilometers per hour. You cannot go at 60, you cannot go at 140. You have to go between 80 and 100. ಆರಾಮ್ಸೆ ಆಯ್ತಾ. ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೊಸ ಕಾರ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ನ್ಯೂ ಕಾರ್ಸ್, where you just put it on auto mode, no? You set the speed and then you just put it on auto mode and it will just maintain that speed. So that is what it should be like. But unfortunately, we don't have that kind of an automated mode in spirituality. You put it on auto mode and go. After that, you don't need to do anything. So anyway, so just remember, under speed is also not of no use because you are going to take a long time. And the longer the time that you take, more chances that again you will get entangled. Again you will get samskaras and again you will get attracted to something. So there's always that risk. If you go over speed, there's a risk of accident. The accident is the premature internal grossness that comes when you artificially induce an internal condition prematurely. The heart is not ready, but a condition is given. Then you create internal grossness. So here, it's not about the sittings that you get from the preceptor. Here it's about we trying to artificially induce some condition in our heart as a basis. So the preceptor will not allow you to overspeed. The preceptor is like the driving instructor sitting next to you. He will always keep saying, go slow, go slow. But we as abhyasis want to overspeed. We press the accelerator firmly. Let me see what happens. There's a hum coming, press the accelerator. Let me see what happens. No going slow. That is what happens. So Bharat, ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಟ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ ಅಂತ ಮತ್ತೆ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? ಬಸ್ನಾಗ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಎತ್ತ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ನೀನೊಬ್ಬ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿನ್ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಮಾತಾಡೋರೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಬೆಳಗಾಂ ಅಂತ
ಬೆಳಗಾಂ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಬೆಳಗಾಂ ಬರ್ತೇನೆಯಾ? A real teacher is not the one who can explain to us the soundness of the religious dogmas or who can prescribe to us do's and don'ts. Almost every one of us knows enough of it. What we stand in need of is from the Guru is a true impulse to effect the awakening of the soul and has his direct support in the course of our further march on the path of realization. So that is the role of the Guru. Please underline. What we stand in need of from a Guru is a true impulse for what? To effect the awakening of the soul and then his direct support on the course of our march towards realization. Such a man we have to seek for if we aim at success. It is therefore evident that while judging a man for our spiritual guide, we must take into account not his learnings or miracles, but his practical achievements in the field of realization. A man who is himself free can free you from eternal bondage. If your Guru is not free from the bondages of samskara, maya and ahankara, it is not possible for him to free you from those bondages. Suppose you are bound to one pole and your Guru to another. How is it possible that for your Guru to free you from bondage? Only a man who is himself free can release you from bondage. Fair enough? But this is true for in real life also. Only a person who knows the language can teach you the language. Only a person who knows how to cook can teach you cooking. So it's true for almost every other thing that we do in material life also. So that's no difference. People have in most cases gone astray for this very reason, as they have submitted themselves to the guidance of such unworthy teachers whose primary motive is perhaps mere self-aggrandizement or some personal gain. With this view in mind, they are generally found to be eager to maintain their position and prestige by false impositions. To them, it is probably the greatest shock to their pride or power or position to acknowledge the superiority of anyone more advanced or better accomplished. This is nothing but ahankara in the crudest form. If you submit yourself to such a guru, you are sure to inherit the same feeling of pride, which is the worst type of grossness and is sure to hamper your spiritual advancement. Liberation is never possible as long as this evil exists. The evil is the feeling of pride, ahankara. Feeling of pride is the grossest form of ahankara. Spirituality is, in fact, such a superfine state of mind that every other thing will seem heavy or grosser in comparison to this. The superfine state of the mind. The delicate feeling caused on the senses by the sweet smell of the rose is far more heavier. I may express it as a state of perfect tranquility and moderation in complete harmony with nature. So, what is spirituality? It is complete, perfect tranquility and moderation in complete harmony with nature. So, three qualities: perfect tranquility, moderation, and harmony with nature. In this state of mind, all senses and the faculties are, as so to say, is in a sleeping or dormant state. Their working becomes automatic, bearing no impression upon the mind. Perfect peace is one of the highest stages, although the real thing is still onwards when even the consciousness of the peace fails. For the consciousness of peace causes some weight upon the mind, though it is very insignificant. Here, consciousness means awareness of peace. That also fails. Okay. So, perfect peace is not the thing. You have to go into perfect peace and then lose awareness of the perfect peace. Then you are said to be in that state. So, when we say perfect purity, we have lost awareness of the purity. Then we can say that this person is in the center in reality. When you have lost full awareness of the peace reigning or the purity reigning. So, as long as we are aware that I am very peaceful, I am very pure, there are two. We are there and the peace or the purity is there, whatever other qualities. When all these things are established in a perfect state, the awareness of these things go away. That is what happens. That is the reason why in the center there is a state of unawareness, not awareness. In the central region, as you enter, there is awareness. As you proceed towards the center, it will become unawareness. Okay. Now, when we are really quite unconscious of the very presence of peace, we are in a true sense free from the impression of the weight of the feeling. The condition of this stage is very peculiar. It is neither anandam nor otherwise. Words fail to express the real condition of this stage. Such is the condition that we have to finally achieve, for which he and he alone can be capable who is permanently abiding the condition described above and has the power and capacity to transmit by his will force the spiritual state into the heart of the Abhyasi and to remove complexities and obstructions therefrom. None below this level is fit to impart spiritual training to others. The one who is established in the center. Now, it is a matter of greatest regret and pity that this age old practice of yogic transmission, originated and widely practiced by our ancient sages, has now gone into complete oblivion in the very land of its origin, where today only a few might even feel inclined to believe in it. Some people try to ridicule it by misinterpreting it as nothing but mesmerism or hypnotism. I have explained this point in my book Efficacy of Raja Yoga. Here I may assure you that the spiritual training for the attainment of the higher stages is only possible by the process of yogic transmission and by no other means. Frequent references to this process in the present society of educated people has led certain religious teachers today to defend their inefficiency in this respect by explaining to the people that there is nothing peculiar about transmission. It generally happens when you are in the company of a Mahatma or a saint and you are to some extent relieved of your disturbing thoughts and feel comparatively calm for a while. This, they claim, is due to the effect of the transmission by the Mahatma. Those who offer this explanation mean only to deceive the public with a view of whitewashing their incapacity. What they interpret as transmission is really the automatic radiation of the pious Paramanus or the fine particles from the Mahatma. Underline this. So they ask you the difference between transmission versus radiation. What they interpret as transmission is really the automatic radiation of the pious Paramanus or the fine particles from the Mahatma. It affects all those assembled there, with the result that calmness prevails to some extent so long as they are there. It is only a natural process and has nothing to do with transmission. It's a natural process. It is the radiation of the fine Paramanus, and it's only going to affect the people who are in that vicinity, who are nearby. These are the three things. It is not only from the Mahatma or a saint that such Paramanus radiate, but also from everyone, whether they are pious or wicked, saintly or devilish. If you are for some time with an impervious or morally degraded person, you find similar impervious Paramanus radiating from him and affecting you, with the result that you find your thoughts flowing in the same channel for the time being. The effect of such radiation remains only for a little while and disappears when you are away from it. So this is another thing. When there is only radiation, you feel better in their presence. The moment you go back home, you don't feel the betterment in your state or condition. You don't carry that with you, and it does not continue to work in you because the radiation is only possible around the people who are nearby in their vicinity. That's the same thing with any other kind of thoughts also. If somebody is with a drunkard, they start getting the thoughts of a drunkard. If somebody is with a drug taker, they get the thoughts about taking drugs. So all these things happen automatically. In fact, many people might actually find it difficult to identify a drunkard, but a drunkard can easily identify another drunkard. They have the knack of it. And you don't ask them, how did they identify? They know. It's just that there is some extra sense in the heart that they pick up. Then that's how it is. If you make 10 people interact with the fellow who drinks, he'll easily pick up who are the people in those 10 people who is drinking. In fact, if they are very sensitive, they'll also pick up who is drinking regularly, who is drinking irregularly, and who is not drinking. To that extent, they are sensitive. So that's very interesting. This is the reason why often religious teachers are found to be making complaints of the indifference of the people to follow what they preach to them. Now, this happens in our system also. In our system, suppose there are people who talk and they don't know how to transmit during talk. Then what happens? As long as the people are there in the vicinity, they feel to some extent better. But the moment they actually leave the talk, they are back to square one. There is no impact whatsoever. And in fact, when a talk is delivered from the level of the mind, even in our system, it doesn't matter which system, when a talk is delivered from the level of the mind, it does not go straight to the heart. So they'll hear people talking, but there is no feeling of satisfaction and settledness in the heart. When you transmit and you talk, it is associated with the transmission of the condition. So one of the things that you feel is that along with the mind taking what is being said, the heart also will receive the condition. Okay. So transmission can be done by thought, touch, talk, and eye contact. and by presence. 5 ways of transmission. And normally, when people are made perceptors, they are given the power to transmit by thought. The other kinds of transmission will come in due course of time, depending on their own evolution. Serena. So there are many talks that the people actually sit through and then they come out without having any kind of feeling of satisfaction or energy or enthusiasm or inspiration, nothing of that kind. They'll just kind of sit through the talk and that's it. And do they pick up anything that is useful for their life? Virtually nothing. So when you attend any talk for that matter, whether in our system or elsewhere, what you need to look for is that does your heart feel inspired? Do you feel a kind of new vigor or vitality or energy? Do you feel that you have picked up something very critical for your journey in life in terms of your spiritual journey? Do you feel settled and peaceful? Not only during the talk, but even after coming out, that condition persists for some period of time. That is what that you are looking for. That is the effect of transmission. Because transmission modifies you as a person. Radiation does not modify you as a person. It's like the tail of a dog. You hold the tail of the dog straight. As long as you hold it, it will be straight. The moment you leave it, it will go back to its crooked position. That is radiation. You hold on to the what do you say, the tail of the dog and keep it straight for some period of time. Okay. ಹೇಳ್ರಿ ಗಣೇಶನ್ ಏನೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಬೇಕಿತ್ತು.
So while we talking like especially so the experience is important, right? Then only we can deliver from the heart.
Not only experience. See, when the heart is settled, the mind gets full clarity. See, the heart and mind work on each other. The field
Correct.
where the mind works is the heart. So if the field is very clear, the mind can grasp everything with clarity. If the field is disturbed, the mind cannot get clarity. The mind might be sharp, but it will not get clarity because the field is disturbed. It's like you might have the best of the players, but if it's rained in the field, you will not get the best cricket. Right? Because the field is not right. You might have the best player in the world. The field is absolutely necessary. Now, when you clean the Abhyasi, their mind is also purer now. So the purified mind on a clean heart gets the best results, instantaneous results. They change. One talk or one sentence makes them change. It penetrates deep in. And many times, some of the sittings from different preceptors can actually give you such conditions, such seeds are sown into the depth of your own being that eventually they'll come to the surface in due course of time. They will blossom. And then you will not even know when was this seed sown actually. It might have been sown long time back and it was just that because of our own way of handling it, it would have taken a long time for it to blossom. Okay, so anyway.
So when you're referring to field, it's a field of heart.
The field of the heart, exactly. The field of the heart here. The Pinda Pradesh. That should be clean. So discrimination is directly proportional to inversely proportional to the purity. The more the discriminative power and purity go hand in hand. Sorry, they are not inverse directly. The more the purity the person develops, more the discriminative faculty develops. So discriminative faculty is nothing but the sharpness of the mind, the viveka. To be able to, that's also one aspect of sensitivity. To be able to discriminate is sensitivity. Right. So why are people not very sensitive? Because they are still filled with lot of samskaras. As and when the samskaras are removed, their sensitivity goes on increasing. This is what happens. Okay, so that is what you look for. Are they growing up in sensitivity as they progress? Now that is one sign for you. Yes, they are actually becoming more purer. Serena. Similar views. Oh, ಇಲ್ಲ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ. This is the reason why often religious teachers are found to be making complaints of the indifference of the people to follow what they preach to them. They say that people, when they go back after hearing their Upadesha, sermons, cast off all they have heard then and there and retain nothing of it in their mind. I think it is not the people but the teacher or the Upadeshaka who is really to be blamed for it, for he has not the capacity or power to transmit what he means to preach from the platform. When you have the condition within you, when you speak about it, the condition automatically gets transmitted because you have it within. So you not only you talk, you transmit directly from the heart, the condition to the receiver. Similar views are expressed in connection with the Sankirtan performance. The peaceful atmosphere created on such occasions is claimed to be due to the effect of the transmission. It is really the result of vibrations produced by the sound of singing in the chorus. Underline that. So again, they'll ask you the difference between transmission and Sankirtans. In Sankirtans, what happens? It is really the peaceful condition is because of the vibrations produced by the singing, sound of singing in the chorus. We experience the same thing at all music parties which we attend. On such occasions, our mind is mostly focused on one and the same thing, which is in our view, and we are for the time being unmindful of other things. In Sankirtans, as our thoughts are located on some pious ideal, we begin to feel the same thing in our hearts automatically. It has nothing to do with transmission. So our mind is kind of settled on one particular thing. If it's music, you are settled on the music. If it's on some ideal, you are settled on the ideal. That's all. You are unmindful of other thoughts, like happens in meditation. You are unmindful of other thoughts. Power of transmission is a yogic attainment of a very high order by which a yogi can infuse by his own willpower the yogic energy or godly effulgence within anyone and remove anything unwanted in him or detrimental to his spiritual progress. So that is yogic transmission. Please underline that. The power of transmission is a yogic attainment of a very high order in which the yogi can infuse by his own will force the yogic energy or godly effulgence within anyone and remove anything unwanted in them or detrimental to their spiritual progress. He can exercise this power not only on those assembled around him, but also on those who are away from him. So that is the difference in radiation. Radiation cannot have an effect away. Transmission can work away also. The power can be utilized in any way at any time. So there is no limitations of the way in which it can be utilized under the time. One who has got command over this power can at a glance create temporarily or permanently a condition of the mind which is far ahead of the existing condition of the mind of the Abhyasi, which otherwise will require a lifetime to be achieved. So this is another thing. So you are able to induce a condition far ahead of the condition of the mind, the state of the mind that they are currently. And that condition can be induced permanently or temporarily. And to achieve that condition or state, they would probably would require one lifetime. But this can happen just in one sitting because of the power of transmission. It is not only a vain assertion but a bare fact and maybe at any time be practically verified by anyone who pleases to do so. Sages have often, through the power of transmission, changed the entire nature of a man by a mere glance. That's why I said eyesight. Transmission by eye contact, eyesight. The wonderful examples of the great sages like my master Samarth Guru Sri Ramchandra Maharaj of Fatehgarh, Swami Vivekananda, others are ample proof of it. So he is explained in this paragraph what is transmission and how does it work in comparison to Sankirtans and in comparison to radiation. Okay. Now the solution to the problem as to what sort of a man should be selected as a guide or guru is not difficult to seek. When our eyes are fixed on the final goal, we can never be satisfied with anyone who appears to be short of the mark. Every saint or yogi has got his own level of attainment and self-elevation. Underline that. Every saint or yogi has got their own level of attainment or self-elevation. If we attach ourselves with any one of them with faith and devotion and secure mergence With his highest condition, we will ourselves attain a corresponding elevation. That's the easiest way. Merge into the Guru. That's why Babaji used to say, what you have to keep as a goal is merge into the Guru in toto. That's the only thing I kept in mind. Throughout my life, I've tried for only one thing, merge into the Guru in toto. I was least bothered about any gods. So who I should thank for a spiritual journey? I should thank my master only. So see, gods are there in particular range of consciousness. Each god has a particular range of consciousness in which they function. So if we attach fully and merge ourselves fully in that god, we can only attain the consciousness up to that level. We cannot go beyond. The god themselves are bound by that range of consciousness. If they themselves are bound by the range of consciousness, how can they allow you to go beyond that range of consciousness? It's not possible. So that's why in spirituality, it is the living Guru who is the most important person in our life. Again, there is a lot of confusion about the Guru. So looking at God, the Guru as God is wrong. Looking at Guru and worshipping him as God is also not correct. Guru is one who is capable of taking us to the highest in the spiritual terms. To that extent, we need to have gratitude and humility towards the Guru. That is fine. But worshipping the Guru for this purpose is wrong. Guru is not God. Guru can never be God. And that's something that we have to be very, very clear about. Okay? So, since Guru cannot be God, Guru cannot be worshipped. But we need to have high regard for the Guru, gratitude to the Guru, because that is what actually helps us in achieving mergence with the Guru. The Guru is one who has actually attained mergence in the Supreme or the Ultimate. And by merging into the Guru, we actually attain the same Supreme. That's the easiest path. Of course, we can go towards the Supreme by ourselves. But that's a very tedious path, very difficult path. Because as we said earlier on, as you go higher, the path is very slippery. You come down because it's very slippery. It's only the power of the Guru who can hold you there and stabilize you there. So the Guru is indispensable as far as spiritual journey is concerned. No God can give you the highest in spirituality except the Guru. Okay, so I hope it's clear. So Daji writes in Designing Destiny, to worship the Guru on behalf of God is blasphemy. It goes against even religious tenets. Blasphemy is becoming irreligious, going against religion. So even from a religious perspective, worshipping the Guru is not right. And equating the Guru with God is also not right. However, as far as spiritual journey is concerned, he is the all in all. So for a person who is in spirituality and spiritual journey, the Guru is the all in all. But for a person who is not in spirituality, God is more superior. So we read about it in the context of avatars and special personality. They are both one and the same as far as why they have come. The avatars are also coming for the change of the course of nature. The special personality also comes for changing the course of nature. In that way, they are both equal. However, from the context of the hierarchy in nature, avatar is more superior than, is placed higher than the special personality. Okay, avatars are placed higher than the special personality. Okay, so one thing for you to ponder about it is Krishna merges into Babaji. Babaji does not merge into Krishna. So I want you to ponder about this. Why this happened? Okay, Bhaskar, you have put some message.
That's only for you, brother. It's okay. Can discuss that sometime.
Sudha's sister is not going to come because she said that till Monday she is not there. Ah, strange. I can't see your message. Where has it gone? I saw the notification, but I can't see it now. Oh, it's here. I'm a little disturbed by the use of the word God in its plural. Can you call them as functionaries of nature? Oh, when you say God here, we're talking about the demigods and the deities, not the ultimate. There again, equating the Guru to the ultimate and worshipping the Guru as the ultimate God is also not right. That's what Daji says. So I'm only quoting from what Daji has said in different books. So it's blasphemy to equate master to God. But to take master as all in all, as far as spirituality is concerned, is the right path or right approach. Okay. So we were just discussing yesterday about the same example. Who has the freedom to go to the highest? So when we take demigods or deities, no, it's as examples. Demigods or deities are like teachers. Teachers who are in high school, teachers who are in college, they don't have the freedom to go to the highest. But a student who is admitted to nursery can go to the PhD with the help of the teachers. But then you have to move on to different levels of teachers. So somebody who is there, who has already done the PhD, who can guide you from nursery to PhD, that's what you catch hold of in spirituality. So the deities or demigods are people like teachers who come in between, like teachers in the middle school, teachers in the high school, teachers in the college. They are all stuck at that level, no? They cannot go beyond. That's their profession. They have chosen that particular realm of existence, of work. They can work in that particular realm and make you better. Okay? Anyway, shall we go further? Ordinarily, a spiritual teacher should never, oh, already 7:20. We'll stop here then. And we can continue tomorrow. And hopefully, we'll finish the chapter Guru tomorrow. Then we'll start with the spiritual training. So, any other thoughts or clarifications? Lot of people are confused about this. And always remember, the living master is the one who is the repository of all the powers necessary for spiritual journey of the Abhyasi. Not the masters of the past. Please remember. Masters of the past have their own role in nature. After they shed the body, they have their own role. That doesn't mean to say that they have no role. They still have some amount of power that is there with them and they can utilize that power. But one who is actually most important as far as spiritual journey for an Abhyasi is concerned is the present living master. He is the repository of all the powers of nature which are necessary for the progress of the Abhyasi. Okay, just keep that in mind. And you cannot equate the present living master with the masters of the past. And there are a lot of people who get confused between this also. They don't want to give up the idea of the master of the past. But it's only valid to those people who have been given higher diksha by the masters of the past who have now shed their body. In that context, if a person is holding on to the master who has now shed the body, it is okay. Because as we read in the same chapter, a initiation done properly by a master of high caliber can never be cut till the Abhyasi attains liberation. So that can never be cut. So in that context, it's okay. But for majority of the Abhyasis, what is necessary is that they should switch from the previous master that they were aligned to the present living master. And that's very, very important. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean to say that what happens is, as and when the previous masters who have shed the body continue to progress, because the journey is towards infinity, no? So they continue to make progress. Their journey is also going on. When their journey is going on, they will acquire so many other things as they go through higher stages. And whatever they get that, they pass it on to the current living master, who can then exercise it on their behalf. That is what happens. Okay. Okay, we'll stop here then. We'll catch up not tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Day after tomorrow depends. If we are traveling we are going outside, if we are traveling again on Monday morning, we might not be able to have the session. If we are not traveling, if we have come back by tomorrow night, we'll have the session as usual on Monday. I'll just put a message anyway in the group. Okay.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Okay. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.